Hey guys, what's going on? I'm doing my update on Jeff Bishop Bullseye Trades that I do every single week. This is an options trade that comes out on Monday morning from Jeff Bishop at Raging Bull, and it's a swing trade. Usually takes a couple of days, sometimes 2 or 3 days to reach fruition. This week was a fantastic win. I know a few people made some decent money on it, but it was a difficult trade. The markets haven't made things easy recently. If you guys have been following, basically, we're having these huge swings in the markets over the course of days. We're seeing big swings, like big up, big down. Depends on your timing. Really difficult. Really difficult. One of the things I've been finding really useful is a strategy from my friend Lance at thetatraders.com. I'll leave a link in the description below. It's basically what we've called consistent passive profits, because it doesn't care if you see these massive upswings or these massive downswings. You still make money no matter what. It has a win rate which has not had a single losing trade over a year and a half of these trades, which is amazing. And I personally have had 0 losses, and it's one of my favorite strategies of all time just because it's set it, forget it. It's passive. It feels like free money, which is not something you can say a lot about trades, because often you're worrying about trades when you're in them, like these swing trades and things, and even Jeff Bishop's trades, which I really like. Often you will find yourself at a loss and you're like, is this going to go well? What's going to happen? And so with these consistent passive profit trades, there's something that really are passive. And it's a term used a lot, this idea of passive income. But selling options on futures trades like MES or ES, it's actually really passive. If you know how to do it, which Lance does, and he's taught me his ways, just send me an email. I'll put my email in the description below, and I can kind of tell you a bit more about what this is involved and how you can join the group that's having a lot of success with this trade, these types of trades as well. So pretty cool. If you don't want to do that, the next best thing is Jeff Bishop's Bullseye Trades. These are swing trades, really chilled out. I've put a link in the description where you can go and basically find every single trade that Jeff has done for the last year and a half here. Not all of them are winners. They're more volatile, and that's the thing. They are more volatile than what I was just talking about. They do tend to be big winners or big losers, sometimes 50% losses, sometimes 100% winners, sometimes 300% winners, but you just never know, and timing is a lot more important than with other strategies like the one I was talking about just a few minutes ago. I still recommend this though. I still think it's a good service. It's really cheap. If you come to this article that I've linked in the description, you can get, via my referral link, this right here. You can get this for $97 a year. So almost nothing, essentially. So it's worth the shot. And you learn a lot from Jeff and his analysis and things as well, which is really cool. One last thing before we get started into the analysis of this week's Bullseye Trades. If you look in the description, you'll find a link to this, which is our free course on Learn How to Win 90% of Your Trades in 90 seconds. And this is similar to the consistent passive profit stuff. It's selling options. It's a way to basically make money a high percentage of the time with very little stress. And this course, some people would charge $1,000 for it. We're giving it away for free, so it's definitely worth checking out. Anyway, let's get started with Jeff Bishop's Bullseye Trade. I've been a member of this service for years now. This week's pick was, as you can see up here, the Qs, QQQ, August 21st. So if we scroll down, kind of go down here. So Jeff was saying I'm even more confident this week that the market is going to go up. And I'm doubling down on the bet as I'll see a rally soon. I have some very specific reasons that I'll talk about in the live session. Now, when you sign up for Bullseye Trades, you can get the option to get this live session, which is really cool. It's 11 a.m. Eastern time every single Monday morning, which is when the alert comes out, basically. And he goes through his Keltner channels, his thought process for the trade, like all the details, which is really valuable because it gives you more confidence in the pick because you understand where it's coming from. I think a big part of trading is you have to have that confidence in that trade, right? You can't just think that somebody's throwing a dart. Like, otherwise you're going to panic sell, or, you've got to understand where it's coming from. And that's one criticism that I do have of Bullseye Trades, like the basic one, where you don't pay for this extra 11 a.m. live stream, is you don't understand his reasoning as well, because as you'll see, there's not a whole lot of reasoning put into the emails that come out. I'll try and zoom in so you guys can see this. YouTube's kind of weird sometimes. Alright, so here we go. So on Monday, the 21st, just this last Monday, my plan for QQQ this week is to start with a half-size position near the market open. I would then like to add to this if it gets back to the 358 level. Remember, we have a couple of significant events this week. Honestly, subscribing for $97 for the year, these two events alone, just bringing them to my attention, is worth it, right? The first one was the NVDA earnings on Wednesday evening. So I knew that was going to be a big thing, and it was. And then Powell talking about Jackson Hole on Friday, I figured that would be a big thing, and it kind of was. Now, they weren't as big or as bad as they could have been, but they were still something that you want to be aware of. So having Jeff bring this to your attention on Mondays, it's worth $97 a year, like as it is, right? You could have been long into Powell talking on Jackson Hole, or long into NVDA earnings, or short into NVDA earnings, you know. It's good to know these things. And to have somebody that sends you this stuff, prepackaged like this in emails, first thing every Monday morning, super, super important, super useful. Anyway, if I'm wrong in this trade, I'll stop out. If the Qs go under 356 level, that is a very tight stop. But I do not want to see the lows from last week getting taken out. So he's been very careful here, which is good. If that happens, I'll walk away with a small loss. On the upside, I think we could see 365 in short order, followed by 370, which is the upper end of the Keltner channel on an hourly basis. It's going to be a fun week of trading. I hope you're getting ready for it. On another note, I know a lot of people are interested in selling options. Selling options, fantastic. That's what I was talking about here. Make sure you check out our free course if you're interested in selling options. I'll leave a link that's clear in the description below to do that. The cool thing is, he started adding spreads. So for you guys that don't know what spreads are, definitely worth learning about. So he's starting to add a spread each week as well, which is a very cool way to do these trades. And I know my friend from datatraders.com, Lance, he was basically doing this as well already, and I think this is a really cool way to do it. So definitely start paying attention to those if you want to learn more about that type of trading and how to minimize your risk, maximize your reward with this type of trading. Anyway, here's the bonus spread down here, so you could look into that if you want. But the big thing here is the highlighted yellow is the trade for this past week. So how did it work out? That is the big question, right? That's what we all want to know, is how did the triple Qs for September 1st, 365 calls near 380 work out? Well, let's have a look. I didn't take the trade. I've been super busy. There's a lot of stuff going on in my personal life that's making trading extremely difficult for me. In fact, the Consistent Passive Profits program with Lance at thetatraders.com has been really the only one I've had a really good chance to take part in because I can't monitor these things. And I like to actively monitor. I don't like to just set stops. I like to check things out, look at news, that kind of thing. So here's the last 5 days. So the 21st is on the left here. So this was the Monday morning. And check this out. Monday morning we had a dip here. And this thing just went all the way up here. Massive move. So let's look at some of Jeff's targets, and then let's look at the options contracts and see if we were anywhere close. So first of all, was there a stop under 356? 356, I'll mark it right here. Get my drawing tools. So first of all, we were nowhere near the stop loss. That's fantastic. Target 1 was 365. That's a big thing. Did we get anywhere near 365? Indeed we did, very, very quickly. Right here. So we blew through 365 by the next day. Huge move up. Did we get to target 2? Target 2 is 370. Did we get to 370? Yes, and we blew right through 370, which was here. So 370 was reached by Wednesday. Now this all happened after hours, which makes it very difficult for people to get in and out of options, you know, post and pre-market. Would be a chance potentially pre-market on Thursday, to escape here. But honestly, I think that this would be kind of a wash, right? You'd either get out here or you'd get out here if you were able to hold all the way up to the second profit target. It's fantastic, but what did the options contracts do? Because this is great. The chart worked out really well. But what we really care about was what did the September 1st 365 calls actually do? So let's have a look, see what they did. So all I'm going to do is go to the trade tab on Thinkorswim, September 1st. Oops, flipping back to there. So the calls were the 365 calls. Trying to scroll down here. Oh, just about there. Here we go, 365s. I'm going to send them to the chart so you guys can see how this trade worked out. Alright, so I just want to check that we're on the 5-day 5-minute. And so, yeah, so the left here was, so I'm just going to zoom in because that, sometimes it's frustrating because you have the weekend in the way. So this was the Monday. So you had a potential of buying these calls as low as $3.18. So Jeff's buy suggestion, which I'd always try and get lower than, it was $3.80, which was actually like up here somewhere. So you had a plenty of time to get decent price here. And then look at this thing. This thing tripled. Went to nearly $10. Isn't that crazy? Now, would we have been able to hold that far? Probably not. I mean, this was profit target 1. It's still $5 and something, which is fantastic. This would be profit target 2, which is $8. So from the low 3s to the middle 8s. Isn't that crazy? And so here's the problem that a lot of people have. Is they'll do a couple of bullseye trades, they'll take 50% losses, and then they'll go, oh, this is a scam, or this isn't for me, can't handle this. And then they'll miss this type of trade. It's a problem with a lot of alert services in general, and trading in general. So anyway, it worked fantastically. I would say that if somebody played this properly, with a good dip buy here, you could easily get a double, maybe even a triple on this. So pretty fantastic. Let's have a look and see what other people had to say about it. It's often interesting to see because it's easy in theory to look back on these and draw lines and say, hey, it doubled or tripled. Let's just have a look through. I haven't looked at any of the comments, so this will be interesting to see what people have to say. Jim says, great call, only if I waited one more day to sell at $8. Oh well, booked profits is way better than a loss. So this guy made money. NVDA sure helped the calls this week, but you can't be too upset if you booked any profits, says Jeff. So Jeff does answer in these, which is really cool. I like the fact that he answers these. Angelo says, finally got a win after a few weeks of taking it on the chin. Small amount was almost blown out. Need more just to get by to you. See, this is all about how you play these things. Jeff replied, let's go man, keep chipping away at this. The market has been very tough the last few weeks. Apparently it has. Great call, Jeff. Took 67% profit. Relief after some time. Great call, Jeff. Please keep the winners coming. This is what I call an A+ setup for the market this week. I wish it was always this easy. So Jeffrey Shaw says, got in at 350, took a quick 52% profit. But you see what's happening. After a couple of weeks of potentially not the best possible trades, people are quick to take profits. And this is this is a problem not just with services like this, but with traders. You take a few weeks of losses, you lose your discipline, and you start to take those profits quickly with the fear that they'll turn into losses. So it's not Jeff's fault that people weren't taking 200% gains on this. It's just the psychology of trading. It's hard. So Jeff's talking about the call spread. It's a long call spread. It's a debit. You're paying money, not receiving it. Should be a bull call spread at your broker. Glenaccord. I know Glenn, he's cool. That part makes sense, but the instructions say to sell the lower strike call and buy the higher strike. Wouldn't that result in a credit? Wouldn't we want to buy the lower strike and sell the higher strike? And Jeff he admitted here, he goes, I messed up the description in the email. I wanted to buy the more expensive call. I saw this discussion as it was going on. But here's the thing. There should be a lot more people here, given the number of people in the service, commenting. The problem is they've all given up. But there's no reason to have given up. If you're careful with your entries and exits, Bullseye Trades has returned consistent winners over many, many, many weeks. The problem is people don't add their own trading plan to it. They just buy as soon as possible, thinking the alert comes out and they have to jump on it. And that's just not the case. If you're careful and buy at dips or just hold off, you can make that win percentage much higher. And you can see that from my track record that I've sent all the way through here. There are periods where there's losses, but there's also periods where it's tons of green. And so I guess the message here is, Jeff Bishop's Bullseye Trades for $97 a year, which you can get at the link in the description in this article. Should be able to learn enough from that and come up with your own trade plan, looking at the stocks, figuring it out, to really sustain a good win rate with this service. So hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully going through these things are useful to you guys. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys soon.